Have you ever given advice to others that you don't follow yourself? Yeah, me too. I always tell clients to post consistently and build a connection with their audience, especially before they plan a big launch or a sale or something that they're doing. And then I did the opposite recently. I was so excited about my program that I rushed my timeline and justified it with logic. So if you're an expert who gives advice that you don't always follow yourself, this one is for both of us. Welcome to the Expert Growth Diaries. I'm Kendra Losey, an award-winning marketer and visibility strategist, and this is where we go behind the scenes as I finally take my own advice. After 25 years of helping others grow their business and their brands while staying invisible myself. Today, we're going to talk about how I almost repeated the same basically rush and crash pattern with my offerings, with my launch, why slowing down actually builds more trust than speeding up, and the real framework that I use with my clients that I managed to forget to use myself. Because here's what I was reminded of. You can be brilliant at what you do and still feel invisible outside of your network if you're not doing the right things, if you're not focused on building those connections. So here's my confession. I was planning to launch Camp Known for this, my 30 videos in 30-day challenge. You might have even heard me talk about it. And I was so excited about it that I fell into a very familiar trap. One that I warned clients about, one that I warned friends about and business partners about, ignored it myself and charged forward. See, what happened is I was so excited about it. I was thinking about it. I was planning in between client work. I put the outline together. I built the back end. And I just was like whispering it in emails. I was posting about it here and there. And it wasn't until maybe 2 weeks before it was supposed to start that I actually started doing a little bit more talking about it. And it still wasn't even strong enough because I hadn't built and refined my message until that last minute. And so I did a push. I put the waitlist up, and 2 days later, the sale page was up. I did all the things wrong. And so really what ended up happening is I had a very small wait list. It was tiny. Shout out to you if you signed up for it. You know who you are. I appreciate you. And even the people who I've worked with in the past that were really excited about it as well didn't sign up. The reason why I was pushing the date is because I wanted to get it started before summer. I wanted to get a week before July 4th and the holiday and people went away. And I know that's not a great time to launch something. Logically, I know that. You know that. But yet, I was just in a pattern of I didn't want to hold on to it. I didn't want to push something out farther. And I didn't want to admit to myself that it wasn't working. I am an expert. I should be able to do this. I was working off what I thought were barriers and constraints that I had put there myself. So here's the advice I was ignoring. Stop rushing. Focus on your audience, not your own schedule, your internal pressure. Build genuine interest and connection before you even try to show up and launch something big. Because if you're someone who's used to being behind the scenes and now you have something amazing you want to share people, you're not a freaking jack in the box. You're not going to be like, hello, it's here, now buy it. No, that's not how it works unless you already have a built-in audience. If you are starting from scratch, or starting to build something new in a new area, you have to take the time to build something new and connect with people in a new area. And that's what I realized on that Friday morning before the final push went out. I wasn't self-sabotaging by putting it off. I wasn't procrastinating. I wasn't falling into a trap I've fallen into before. I was trusting my gut. Because I typically teach something to my clients called the revenue to runway system, where I talk about how important it is to build that genuine connection first, to create consistent touch points and establish trust through visible proof and repeat your message until you're sick of it. And then say it like 5 or 20 more times. And I had literally skipped most of those steps that I know are critical to success. But no, I was so excited about the program and worried about waiting too long again and rushing past my own system, the very system that works for my clients every single time. Over 40. A lot of us have been trained to overthink everything. We second guess our instincts because we're afraid of making the wrong move. We've been burned out before by moving too fast, or honestly, by moving too slow. We've always been striving for that happy medium. So when that little voice says, this doesn't feel right, my first instinct, one I followed in the past, was to ignore it and push through anyway. And that has not gotten me a lot of, quote unquote success. But this time I listened and I looked at what I've done in the past. I looked at my past patterns of pushing through no matter what for myself and not listening to my clients. I paused it. I postponed the launch, not because I was scared, not because I was procrastinating, not because I consider it a failure, 'cause look at all I've learned. It's because I was finally taking my own advice. The same advice I give to clients who want to rush. Slow down. Build your runway first. Talk to people. Let people know. See if they even want it before you build it and before you ask them to buy from you. And you know what happened? Instead of beating myself up for what could be perceived a failure, I felt relieved. Like I was finally treating my own business with the same care I give my clients. Because here's what I've learned. Sometimes what looks like a step back is actually getting back in alignment with what you know works. Means disappointing your timeline and unrealistic or realistic goals that you created to protect yourself, even though things don't go the way they think you should. You know what I'm also basing all of this on is the last time 2 years ago when I went to do a launch after the holidays and a program I was really, really excited about. You know what day that was scheduled for? January 6th. So I had to stop and pause and pull everything for a while. And that wasn't the first time that something like that has happened when it's things outside your control. So it's learning to be flexible and not looking at that as a pattern of failure. No, I would never say that to a client, and I would never let them say that to themselves. So it's truly paying attention to my language and how I assess and review what would be a failed launch and learn from it, because that was not a failure. That was me learning a really, really important lesson. So what am I doing now? I'm following my own runway to revenue system first. Honestly, I'm in the show phase. I'm sharing my expertise consistently here in my emails to my community, providing value before I ask for anything. Yeah, I do one-to-one work. Absolutely. Will I work with you one-to-one? Absolutely. But I'm not doing any big launches, just like I tell my clients not to do. Second, I'm building genuine connections, not just posting content and hoping you'll buy from me. I'm actually talking to my audience about what they need. I love teaching. I love connecting. I love community. Third, I'm giving my program the runway it deserves instead of rushing it to market like freaking Jack in the Box, right? Springing it on you because I'm impatient and excited about it. I'm taking time. So here's the lesson. If you've been second guessing the wisdom that got you this far in your career, if you're a business coach, coach your own business. If you teach marketing, market yourself. If you help other people trust their expertise, start by trusting yours. Your instincts aren't wrong. You don't need another course certification. You might need some guidance, but they're not wrong. You're likely just overthinking them. And if you're an expert with decades of hard-earned experience, but you're still the best kept secret in your industry, you are exactly who I created the series for. Subscribe to see how I'm continuing to apply the same strategies I teach to my clients and how I'm applying them to my business. This is the Expert Growth Diaries. I'm Kendra Losi, and I am finally taking my own advice because it's time to turn that expertise of yours and mine into the recognition you deserve without losing yourself in the process.